Look at Razor. Yeah, Razor. You're part of it. The online students interacting with us.
Okay, so we've got a bit of
A funny situation, I would say.
okay. Oh, that's not working. Okay, welcome all. Welcome back. Are we all good? Okay, all right. I like a bit of excitement. If it's well targeted, and then that all the better. Blockchain and the global supply chain. All right, this is not an IT portion of the unit. I just want to share so it comes up properly for you. Just tell me if it's working or not. If I go and let me just make sure I'm sharing properly. Share the screen and PowerPoint show. Yeah. Okay, it's coming. All right. This is not an IT week. This is not me teaching you coding, but this is something for you just to think about as an extension of what Andy is talking about, because Andy's company LogChain they do use the blockchain. Okay. They don't use Bitcoin. All right. They use the blockchain, and they're two different things. Okay. So what I want you to do, if you go into the questionnaire, do you all have access to the questionnaire? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Can you open that up now? And we're going to go through the questions together. The first question is, what is your email? What is your name and student number? So if you put your student name in and last 4 digits of your student number, that will be great. Okay, so the first question we have for everyone is on week before we even move. First question, which slides have key areas that will shape your future job opportunities? Which slides? So we're after a number now. First question.
This is a subjective question.
Pardon?
This is subjective.
That's all right. But have you got an? But is there either no slides or there's slides where you say that there are?
Is it okay to say every slide? Because I felt like every slide.
Every slide. No, I don't think the slides are that good. Okay, so we have someone in the class just for the online saying that, then every slide. Well, that's very generous, but can we be very specific? Is there a kind of a slide that gives you a survey that actually gives you a hint of issues? Yes, sir.
I mean, for me, I would say slide 18, because I feel that it's interesting that to know the supply chain pain points which I didn't know about it.
Slide 18, and slide 18 because
it shows like the clear picture of pain points of supply chain, which I didn't know before.
okay.
So it's a very summarized in the point that you can easily shows when it comes to supply chain, what are actually the pain points.
Okay, what does slide 18 look like? Let's have a look. Okay, this one here, is that right?
No, it was with the infographics. The
You said 18.
From slide is number
Is that the DTTA?
it's from week 11, slide 18. I'm referring to. There's 25 slides. Are we in the same?
Traceability and then
Yeah, that slide I'm talking about.
like
That's 23.
Which side?
Have we got the numbers wrong?
Yeah, it's slide number 23.
How come your 18 is 23?
I opened the file from week 11. Maybe it's different.
Okay, all right. Okay, this one here.
No, let me just show you.
He's talking about the
Slide number 20
traceability.
consists of all these things also.
This one.
Just go back. Back,
Yeah,
I
back.
don't have that.
the
One-
pain point.
yeah, this one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
18.
No. You just missed it. You just.
Previous
Right after next. Like number
I saw it just now. You just missed it.
Page 19.
This one.
Yes, this one. I'm
Okay,
talking about.
20. All right. Okay. Okay, so, all right, so these issues, this is for you. Okay, anyone else?
Just from online, I think slide 26 on the slides, but slide 24 on the in terms of number.
Okay, that's not.
This one here.
No, the one about the wine bottle.
This one here.
Yeah. I think this sort of opened my mind in terms of what opportunities are out there and like what gaps are not yet in Malaysia. So that's how I saw it.
Okay, tracking the provenance of wine. Is this a marketing thing or an operational issue that the blockchain is helping?
I think it's
Question.
a mix of both.
Okay, definitely marketing, all right? Whether it helps operational is like on the operations side, the relevance of operations is if you have to verify to comply with certain regulations or something like that, right? If you don't, then maybe if you're still using the blockchain, then maybe it's a marketing tactic, with nothing wrong with that either. All right. So you just call it what it is. But I think there are farms in the USA that are using blockchain to link their farm to the sale of different turkeys. All right. And which is kind of, it's marketing. It's marketing. Because can you still sell it if you don't have it linked to your farm? Of course you can still sell this turkey, right? There's no regulations to say you cannot sell without the traceability. All right. Very good point. Any other slides? Anyone?
Yes, 25.
20.
From online,
Yes, Joe. Yes, please.
slide 22, blockchain and supply chain management.
Okay.
Right, okay, 22. The one before.
One before.
All right, okay. I feel like this is a very good image of like how we can better implement blockchain and supply chain management, because like, yes, we may have very different ideas and concepts, but these ways that we can help implement blockchain can in a sense help us visualize and realize our concepts.
Okay, this is good. And while we're on this slide, where do we start, Joe?
I would say the low complexity but high adoption, slowly moving to low complexity and low adoption. Then we move into high complexity and low adoption to, in a sense, reap the best benefits out of it.
Okay, that's a very good point. You would definitely, the area of digital marketplaces and all the tracking is something that it's a easy win that can be put in
It's
place.
widely
So-
used.
Sorry?
Yeah. No, I
Yep.
feel like that pathway, in a sense, starts introducing you to widely used things. And then slowly, as you grow your business, you can find, it'll allow you to find a more concise or rather more targeted area that you want to, in a sense, improve. Like, let's say, regulatory compliance or operations data. So
Yes.
basically, this blockchain can help you steer you in that direction.
Yes. Okay, so part of what Joe is saying, I don't know if this, let me just check, make sure we've got, okay, no, here's better. There you go. Good, good, good. Excellent. Even better. Oh, okay. Yeah, Pavjot was saying you start here, go down and around and up. Okay, why? Because you can get quick wins on the board here, then take you much longer over here because it's high complex area. So this is a very nice diagram of where do you start? Okay, because the more you get into this blockchain, it just becomes like a real rabbit warren. That means there's rabbit holes going everywhere. This is great. Thank you, Joe. Anyone else?
No worries,
Another
no worries.
slide, please.
Slide 25.
25. Okay.
It's like how, because you mentioned about different company and how the blockchain actually matters to them. Like for Walmart, it will be for higher food safety. For Carrefour, it will be improved traceability and stuff like that. So we know like what actually which company and in this company belongs to what industry and what really matters to them with this blockchain.
Interesting. Yes. And I must acknowledge that this table is taken from a group assignment from 2019. Remember I asked you to do you got to have a really good table in the middle of your project. Okay, you work backwards from that, you work forwards from that. Like this is what a really good table looks like. Okay, so you've got various attributes that you're comparing different companies on, and then you've got the comparisons that the features of each column of the different companies. So just a point there. Okay, good. Let's go to question 4. Okay, you all got question 4 in front of you? Yes? Okay, question 4. Log chain, okay, based on last week. What was the big problem or example of logistics given by Andrew of log chain?
Big problem is the barriers.
Redundancy. The silos of information, and it's mostly paper-based.
Paper-based silos of information, yes, and?
Redundancy and duplication, like because he sees like the descriptions is the repeating of something again and again.
Duplication, repeating things again and again, yes. Okay, anyone else online? So you can fill that in now. You can, if you haven't. Okay.
Documents.
What did I mention 15 minutes ago?
Documentation. Documents.
What was the red circle? I put a red circle around the picture. Remember?
Data acquisition.
Too much
Drowning in data.
Drowning in data, right? And yeah, but what exactly did I write down? What was the word that was circled in red in that picture?
Data acquisition.
Data acquisition. Okay, that was the big challenge. Okay, so blockchain doesn't necessarily help you to acquire the data. Blockchain needs you to have an efficient approach to acquiring the data. All right, so if you don't have that, then you're not going to try blockchain. Okay, so what do we mean by data acquisition?
You have proper. You mean to have
Collecting
proper
data?
The data.
Collecting data, yes. Yeah, it's collecting data. All right, so an example is of collecting data. collecting data
surveys,
is some of you drive. So if you're driving in Singapore, what happens if you go into the city circle? Yeah, you get a toll, right? So what's that technology that's used? RFID. I think they have the same for the tollways in Malaysia too, right? But in Singapore, there's charges so much more. So I just want to use that example. But RFID, that's a way of collecting data, right? So, RFID is a way of, and then, okay, we're going to come back to RFID in a minute. Any other big problem of logistics given by Andrew? Anyone online?
Sustainability was an issue.
Sustainability. Yeah, can you explain?
So he said that currently the way.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Currently, the way data is handled in the supply chain industry, there is it's not environmentally sustainable. There's a lot of paper-based information.
Right.
And so if we made a shift to blockchain, data handling would be much more sustainable because it would all be digitalized. And so, yeah, sustainability is a big problem in the current scenario.
Right. It's interesting, just while we're on blockchain, Andy's proposing that we do a project. And so we've designed a questionnaire that we're hoping to send out to, I don't know, 100,000 people through a particular network. I don't know if we can reach that many, but the questions are much more about, how many emails do you answer a day? How many emails are relevant to transactions or problems and so forth, to understand how bad is this drowning in data in the logistics area. We're not talking about other areas, but just focusing on logistics. So I'll let you know if that anything amounts out of that, but these are ideas that we need to bring to bring data to the fore, and not just say we're drowning in data, but actually have data to show that this is actually the case. Next question, number 5, we're up to question 5, right? How are we all going there? Is everyone online? You know what we're doing? Question 5. Hello, online? Hello? Question 5. Question 5 is to do with slide 6. Apologies if the numbers are not syncing. Which is this slide here. What is the difference between a blockchain and a database?
One uses a centralized storage while the other uses a decentralized storage.
One uses a
centralized storage while the other uses a decentralized storage.
Which one is? Okay, so one answer is one uses decentralized storage and one uses centralized storage. So which one uses centralized storage? Database.
Blockchain is decentralized.
Yeah. But depends how, and also it may depend on the consensus algorithm, but for the most part, the idea of using blockchain is to try and decentralize the connections of data. But most companies just need to have a database. They don't, or not every company needs to have a blockchain. Okay, so don't get too excited. Blockchain is not to replace all databases around. It really depends. Okay. And it really depends on the next question. I'll just make a note of that. Have we all answered that question? Yes? Okay, all right. And another example of database is just spreadsheets. Okay. Pivot tables. You don't need blockchain for pivot tables. It's still a database. Okay, all right. Next question. And this this is my favorite. I think this is my favorite question, this one. Wait a minute. Okay, blockchain building blocks. Which are is sorry, the question is bad spelling. Which of these three is missing a lot from blockchain explanations in courses? So I've done a course at Princeton on cryptography. I've done a course with Hong Kong U on fintech, and they talk about blockchain there. But there's one thing that's missing from these courses. Which one? Oracle. So what's an oracle?
Fortune 500.
Huh?
No.
We're not talking about the lady in the Matrix, the oracle, right? Huh? Right? All right. So what do we mean by oracle?
To connect the blockchain to the external system.
It's the thing that connects the data with the real world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? So what's an example of an oracle? What's an example of an oracle? Come on.
RFID.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. RFID. All right. RFID is an oracle, right? So it's a way of connecting real world action and making data out of it, right? So the oracle captures the data. Remember what the big thing that Andy was talking about last week? We circled in red. What was it? Hello? Yell it out. Yeah, data. I can't even spell it. Data acquisition, okay? And last week, what did I do? I circled it in red. Did I not do that? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. And so basically, data acquisition technology are the oracles, right? The oracles are the data acquisition technology, right? So blockchain doesn't acquire data, all right? You need RFID to, you need, you're using oracles every day. You go buy something and you scan with GrabPay, all right? Your QR code scanning, all right? That's an oracle, okay? So the oracles enable the capture of data. And I think it's interesting. Let me give my opinion and you can tell me what you think too. My opinion is that, yeah, the oracles, out of these three things, if you go to Coursera, you go to edX, you go to all the online courses around the world in this area, there's a lot of stuff on cryptography. There's a lot on consensus mechanisms, but there's not many courses on oracles. And if people don't know that, in some ways, if we're going to learn more about oracles, we kind of have to do an engineering course, something in IoT space, all right? Sensing mechanisms, okay? So and that's probably why you don't find it in business courses or discussed. But these three things are important for a proper system to work, for a smart contract to work. Okay, so which of these three is missing a lot from blockchain explanations? It is the oracles, okay? And if any of you are interested in cryptography, there's a beautiful course at Princeton University. Oh, don't worry, I did not pay for it. I just audited it. I did the whole course. But I went online and just to read the forum after the first week assignment required you to actually create a cryptocurrency. That was the starting assignment. Like it was just too, and I was reading the forums, they said they've got to be kidding, expecting us to do this in the first week of this course. It's so funny. But you can all go and you can join that course, you audit it. What audit it means, you can get to watch all the videos. And I can tell you, all the videos are amazing. They're really amazing. They just talk about, they talk about all the different cryptography arrangements, the general problem, then there's a lot in there. All right, so that's cryptography. That's not blockchain per se. The cryptography is needed and to do the following, and that is the SHA-256 hash algorithm. All right, 256 or 256 bits. I'm not a computer science major, but I will dumb it down for you. All we're doing is there's 3 parts, a hash, a block, and the blockchain. But the thing that actually links one group of data to another is the hash generated by the data in the previous block. Okay. And then that hash has to be identical to the hash in the next block. And if you change the data in prior blocks, that changes the hash, and suddenly the chain becomes unlinked. That's all. That's it. That's blockchain, all right? That's my limited knowledge in this area, all right? And that's I think if you want to go further, actually go through this Princeton University unit, very interesting. And there's another course I went through in Udemy that talked about, in more simple terms, about how these 3 things are matched. So and some of you have already answered this question online, but let's go to number 7. Slide 11. Okay. The question is, what is the purpose of cryptography?
Privacy and the
Data
Integrity of data.
makes it private. Produce the unique hash.
provides secure communication.
Yeah.
Yes.
Creates the unique codes.
Huh? What is it? Okay, I want you to think about it. I want you to think, there's one thing that that may behoove you to add to your explanation. Your explanations are correct, but it can be more correct if you're talking about, we're talking about let me ask you this question, all right? Are we talking about a high trust environment or a low trust environment? First of all, we're talking about a low trust environment, all right? And so then the purpose of cryptography is to do what?
To make it high trust.
Make sure the information that you receive,
The integrity.
is
Security
secure,
and
verification, the presence of
Yeah, all right. And remember this, I don't want to turn this into a computer science class, but I will give you a simple example, and then you can score me from A to D on how well I explain. All right. So there's one person here you've got to get information from. His name is Fred. All right. And then there's you, and you're trying to get this information, and you're Hilda. All right. And but you cannot see Fred. All right. You cannot see. So it's a low trust environment. All right. But there's information that's got to get from A to B, but you don't. How the cryptography enables you to have assurance that the information did come from Fred, even though you did not see it come from Fred. That's what we mean by overcoming the low trust environment. Okay, because the information could come from somewhere else, right?
Yes.
So the cryptography gives that confidence, that guarantee that it came from the person you expected it to come from. All right. All right. That's enough of the computer science. All right. This is supposed to be global supply chain management. All right. And therefore, if we change, what happened? Next question. Next question. what will change if you change this $25 from Darcy to $55 from Darcy?
The whole hash will.
What will online? Are you with us?
Yep. The hash will change.
Yeah, the hash will change, and therefore the chain will become unlinked. All right, the chain will become unlinked. All right, because the hash needs to be the same for everything to be linked, like a blockchain, right? All right, so that's why the hash and the cryptography enables the data to become immutable, right? Immutable means unchangeable. All right. Okay. So that's number 8. Number 9, which is slide. Are you still with us? Hello? Okay. All right. Number 9, this one here. Which of these is the hardest to implement?
Consensus.
Hands up for A. Cryptography. Oh, okay. You can pay a programmer to do the cryptography. Yeah. Okay. Hands up for B. Anyone? Online. And C. Consensus mechanisms. Why? Hello?
Because we need them to be able to communicate with one another.
Yeah.
All right. So consensus mechanisms can be difficult to implement, but how have companies dealt with that problem so far? Like, remember I showed you 5 companies before, you know, Walmart and Maersk and Carrefour, like those companies. Are they implementing their own consensus mechanisms, or are they using a third-party provider?
Third party provider.
All right. So is it easy to implement consensus mechanisms?
No.
Well, it is, because you just outsource it to a third-party provider.
Okay. That way.
Huh? Trick question. Sorry. All right. All right. They're not doing it themselves.
Yeah, we thought it's you asking if they're doing it. So
Sorry.
we thought you asking maybe they're doing it themselves. That would be hard.
Yes. You would imagine. Okay. These are big companies. They got lots of resources, right? But they're not doing it themselves. See? So who else is going to do it themselves? If the company's resources are not doing it, companies with no resources are going to be crazy to try and do it themselves. All right. Okay. So you could say that oracles are hard to implement because they are resource heavy. Number one, they're resource heavy, right? Because you need the hardware, and they need to be at the right places. Number two, you need to train people. And that's last week, class, just want to get back to LogChain last week. And what Andy, the whole spirit of the LogChain service is to help companies to implement their blockchain mechanism. But he says the biggest challenge is having an app where blue-collar workers only have to press the phone 4 times. If they have to press it 5 times, then it's too complicated. So that's the hard part. All right. The hard part is still the data acquisition, which is really the oracles. Okay. So interesting. All right. So remember, some of these questions going through this actually gives you a bit more insight into what Andy was talking about last week. All right, just that Andy wasn't available this week, so apologies for the backwards around this one. Okay, now we're talking about Andy with LogChain. Number 10, which consensus mechanism does LogChain use? Online? Which consensus mechanism does LogChain use?
Ripple?
Someone said Ripple, close.
There should be
Not Libra.
Ethereum.
Ethereum,
Libra.
close, but not correct.
Bitcoin?
No,
Oh, both Ethereum and Ripple.
actually, I'm not sure if it's listed here. It's not listed here.
Oh dear.
Dogecoin.
Oh, go back. Oh, let me help you. The answer is here. Apologies. The answer is here. Which blockchain infrastructure? The blockchain infrastructure is the consensus mechanism that LogChain is using. So which blockchain infrastructure?
Hyperledger.
So you've got Hyperledger Fabric, you've got Ethereum smart contracts, you've got MediLever. Which one of them is LogChain using?
Oh,
There's you've got 3 choices. Okay, so which one?
Hyperledger.
Hyperledger, exactly. All right. So LogChain, they're not creating their own consensus mechanism. They're using a third-party platform consensus mechanism, right? As we said, that seems to be the course that companies are going. Okay. All right. How are we going on the questions?
Good.
Yeah. Number 11. Which of these areas, slide 17, let's have a look. Did we cover in this semester? I'm not saying we covered it every week, but is there something we covered and which week did we cover it?
Cover IoT, the Internet of Things.
First of all, IoT, which week? Week 7. Very good. Oh, very good. Next. Did we cover anything
I
else?
think RFID we covered today, I guess.
Oh yeah, RFID, week 11. Sorry. Okay, very good. All right.
The big data.
Yeah, I think we need to do more digitization. Big data last week,
Yeah.
week 10. Okay, good. Okay, number 12, which is slide 20. What is the difference? This is good, going through the questions. What is the difference between pain points and benefits to be required by using blockchain?
Benefits of blockchain they can provide to the. I think benefits is like what blockchain can offer.
Okay, let's online. Anyone online? Remember,
Pinpoints short-term problems that they might face, such as let's say cost or adaptability, whereas benefits is I would say traceability, say security.
okay, they actually not all. They don't always have to be benefits and pain points on the same slide here. But often many of these are pain points often are the risks that have to be solved, right? Let me just hide that, right? Okay, so some of these are pain points that when you solve them, then they don't create value. They're just part of doing the business. Okay, so for example, compliance. Okay, that's a pain point because you have to deal with it. Digitalization may not be directly a pain point. Dispute resolution, that's a tricky one. All right, so some of these are ranked differently in terms of driving the adoption of blockchain. Okay, let's keep going. Joe, I think you answered this one, but we'll go back to it. Number 13. What is the area that gives you the biggest bang for the buck? Where do you start? Come on, everyone knows now. Online, where do you start?
We are not online.
Come on, where do you start?
High adoption and low complexity.
You start here. You start here because it's easy. All right? It's easy. Why? Low complexity. And then,
High adoption.
okay, and as Joe explained earlier, you might go down to the bottom quadrant and then across to the low complexity, the high complexity areas. Okay. So that's getting back into strategic, what would you call it? Like implementation. So class, if you're going for a job interview and you're in procurement and you know questions of digitalization is going to come up, you may want to study this quadrant in a little bit more detail. Okay? Because the big thing about quadrants is often you can never be in every one of these quadrants. You can never solve everything at the same time. You've got to start somewhere. All right? You've got to eat the elephant one bite at a time. So the big question with a quadrant is, where do you start? And where do you go next? Where do you go next? And then next. So if you're really serious about understanding digitalization of the supply chain, then you may want to do some courses that focus on, well, how do we improve the digitalization of tracking? And then you may want to think about courses in these areas here. So that can be useful for you as a student if you want to go really high specific detail on that. All right, digitalization. Okay, next question. We're nearly done. We are done. Put your hand up if you've answered all the questions. Everyone? Congratulations, well done. Online, have you all done? Great effort, everyone. Well done. Good on you. Okay, let's have a break for 7 minutes. We'll come back and then we can take some more questions from you. Thank you.
Yes, low complexity, and then you end up in high adoption.